This is a brief introduction to WeAuthors, a website for multilingual students enrolled in heritage language courses across the City University of New York. This presentation is intended for heritage language instructors. The presentation starts with some pedagogical motivations for a site like WeAuthors. This is followed by general information on how to use the site in your teaching. Then we share student feedback and we move to show you where students go to submit work and where to find instructions to publish student work. We conclude with acknowledgements. Why WeAuthors? WeAuthors is a site where heritage language learners of any language can publish their classwork. If you don't see the heritage language you teach, please contact ILETC and we will be happy to add the language. The site is intended as a space where students publish the best product they can produce at their specific developmental stage. While instructors will use the site differently depending on the course, we don't intend the site to be a space for seasoned writers. The site was piloted in several heritage Spanish courses at 3 CUNY campuses, and it provides a public-facing component to student work, which is known to boost student engagement and support proficiency development. And why is this? When we use writing in our second or heritage language course, we typically do so for two reasons. To practice language, for instance, we introduce the grammar and vocabulary for a specific unit and then ask our learners to write with the goal of practicing the grammar and vocabulary. A different use for writing, though, is to explicitly teach students how to create meaning in the heritage language, what the field calls learning to write as opposite to writing to learn. There is plenty of work published on this use of writing for both heritage language learners and L2 learners at different levels of proficiency. When learning to write, the writer must learn to identify an audience and to choose the linguistic, pragmatic, and sociocultural features appropriate for this audience. But we know that the classroom has clear limitations in terms of who the audience is for the student writing, typically the instructor. Here is where WeAuthors comes into play. The WeAuthors site allows us to open up the classroom, providing a wider, more authentic readership, while boosting learners' engagement and self-confidence, as we will see when we introduce student comments later on. Which are some of the ways you can use WeAuthors in your teaching. The site has at least 2 instructional functionalities. Texts already published on the site can be shown to students to model specific writing elements, and of course, it can be used to publish student work. Regarding the second use, the site offers space for 2 types of publications. One type is a final copy resulting from work on one or several drafts which received feedback from the instructor. Or WeAuthors can be used to publish more improvisational writing which might not have received feedback from the instructor. Students might be asked to publish only once during the semester or multiple times as the instructor wishes. And similarly, the site can be partially or fully integrated into the curriculum. Expanding on this last option, students in a course can be invited to publish on the site as an extracurricular activity or publishing their writing as extra credit toward the final course grade. Or the site could be fully integrated into the class curriculum and become the culmination of teaching writing as a process. First, teaching writers specific aspects of composing a text, modeling this aspect for them, then go through a series of drafts incorporating feedback while revising the text, to finally publishing the texts on the site.
Now we're happy to share some feedback from students collected by one of the instructors at the end of the semester during the pilot phase. We found a few recurring themes in the student feedback. One theme was that initially they reported feeling vulnerable when sending their writing out into the world, voicing a lack of confidence in their Spanish and their writing abilities, something that we know to be common in heritage language learners. But another theme was that they gained confidence once they saw the final product on the WeAuthor site, especially next to the writing of other CUNY students. And a final theme was students reporting that they gained awareness of what it means to have a specific audience for their writing. Now let's take a look at a selection of some of the actual student comments. This first example shows a student gaining an awareness of what it means to write for a specific audience and also benefiting from an open teaching assignment by learning from seeing classmates' work. The student said, "I was pretty indifferent regarding publishing my work on a public site. I did not mind having to do so, but I also did not fully understand the meaning behind it. However, it did encourage me to try that much harder when creating the second chronicle, since I now had the knowledge that it would be getting published and a better idea of what kind of website it would be getting published on. After reviewing the website, I also gained a better idea of how my writing should look in comparison to other students who also uploaded their work." The second student said, "I feel very good about publishing my work on a public site. I feel a sense of joy publishing my work because of all the work that was put into it." A third student said, "I thought it was kind of cool publishing my text on a public site. It gets your voice or the story you told out there along with your classmates." Our final example student said, "I believe it was a bit intimidating because I'm not used to publishing work online for others to read. I'm a little insecure of my writing. I feel like it lacks something, but I can never find the thing it lacks. Really, I'm not much of a writer, and in Spanish it's harder to write, but I tried, and that's the good part. Today, I published my other piece, the last step of the chronicle, and honestly, I was not intimidated. Instead, I was proud of my work. I felt like finally I wrote a good piece for class, and I was totally fine with publishing that final piece. Adding a picture also was good because now my writing piece has an image of what I'm writing about." Now, we'll give you a brief overview of the steps that the instructor takes to publish student work on the WeAuthor site. This is something that's currently available to CUNY instructors only. So there are two main parts to the process. The first part is that you have to join the site, and then every time you assign work for your students to submit on the WeAuthor site, you will visit the site to publish each student's submission one at a time. Next, let's talk about those two main parts in detail. Now we'll show you how to join the website. Before you take any of these steps, just be aware that you must be a member of the CUNY Academic Commons in order to join. On the right side of the menu, you will find the Faculty tab, and in the drop-down menu, click on Faculty Onboarding. A short form will appear requesting the information that ILETC needs to make you an administrator of the site, and within a week of completing the form, you will receive an email invitation to join. This last step is crucial. Only after you accept our invitation will you be able to publish student work. For the second part, you'll be publishing students' work in two main steps. Step one is that you'll assign the writing to your students, and that will include telling them where they will submit their writing, which will be on the WeAuthor site. The second step is after they've submitted, which is that you'll go to the site dashboard to view and publish their submissions, and instructions for that are on the website itself. Students will go to the tab on the website that says Students Submit, and a form will open where they enter their personal information, their course information, and their writing. Students will have to choose whether their writing should be published with their name or anonymously. They also have an option to attach an image. Their submissions do not show on the website until you finalize and publish them. A link to this form can also be found on the faculty instructions, which we'll show you now. Okay, so to learn how to do the second step in part 2 of the process, you'll read the faculty instructions. To find them, go to Faculty and then Faculty Instructions on the website. We have made the steps as short as the functionality of the WordPress website would allow us, but once you have some practice, it should take you less than 3 minutes to publish each student submission. Besides the instructions, this document includes useful information about joining the site, about the student submission process, and about how to publish. Please contact ILETC if you want us to guide you through the process of publishing the first time that you publish. We are very grateful to our collaborators and to all the students who made this website possible. Thank you very much for watching, and for those of you who join us, we hope you find We Authors a rewarding experience for you and your students, and you can contact us at ILETC@gc.cuny.edu.